It's gonna be food.
Oh, Jared!
Support your Grizzlies by voting for them to the 2026 All-Star Game.
Oh, Edie with the big swat on the deck, floats it up, off the glass and in! Cedric Power, yes sir!
Vote now by going to grizzlies.com/allstar.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live. Own the 2025-26 Grizzlies season with the 10-game Flex Pack, the ultimate way to catch all the action on your terms. Choose your favorite matchups from intense rivalries to weekend thrillers and customize your pack to fit your schedule. With 10 games to pick, you'll never miss the moments that matter most. Visit Grizzlies.com/packs today to build your perfect ticket pack and cheer on the Grizzlies your way. It's your team, your season, and your schedule. So don't miss out.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't give up on your Memphis Grizzlies when they fell behind a team that a lot of people think could compete with Oklahoma City to win the 2026 NBA title, because you should never close your eyes before the final buzzer. Long as you got Cam Spencer on the court, a personal 5-0 run to close things, and the Grizzlies upset the San Antonio Spurs. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, about 20 minutes, Chris Vernon's going to join me, host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. I'll talk to him about what he saw last night inside FedEx Forum. Chris Vernon will be here in the second segment. Finish talking to Vernon, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, the Baltimore Ravens have fired the most successful coach in franchise history. John Harbaugh is out, but it sounds like he won't be unemployed too long. We'll discuss that situation. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. The Tennessee Titans are reportedly going to interview former Dallas Cowboys coach Jason Garrett for their head coaching vacancy. Bennett, did I just hear you laugh? He hasn't coached since 2019, but that doesn't mean he can't do it anymore. Okay. I'm going to get Bennett's thoughts on that. Sounds like they're not going to be positive. We'll do it a little later on in the show. Wild story in the world of college football. Washington quarterback Damon Williams has entered the transfer portal, reportedly just days after signing a new contract, like put his signature on it and everything, with the University of Washington. Reportedly, Washington is going to pursue all legal routes to try to resolve this issue. Lawyers are going to get involved. I'll tell you more about that situation. We'll do that in just a bit. Crazy night in college basketball. Projected number 1 overall pick, Darren Peterson, scored 32 points in 32 minutes and helped Kansas overcome a 15-point deficit in the final 5 minutes of regulation to get it to overtime and then beat TCU 104-100. Darren Peterson did not play a second in overtime. Unusual situation at KU. I'll tell you more about that. We'll do it in the third segment. And Tennessee evened its SEC record with an 85-71 win over Texas last night. Rick Barnes is now 5-1 against the school that fired him since that school fired him. That must feel nice, I would imagine. We'll dive into that a little bit more during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but obviously you want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because Game 36 of a scheduled 82, it was played last night in downtown Memphis. No Ja Morant, no Cedric Howard, no Zach Edey, no problem. Final score, Grizz 106, Spurs 105. As you know, Bennett, the Grizzlies trailed by as many as 11 at one point and by 4 with just 87 seconds remaining. But then Cam Spencer, he bared a 27-footer to cut that lead to 1. Then 40 seconds later, bared an 18-foot step back, and that's got the Grizzlies a lead that they would never relinquish. Yes, Cam Spencer, it was a personal 5-0 run to close the game, flip the loss into a win with the help of Santi Aldama, who got a game-saving block, potentially, on De'Aaron Fox's shot at the game winner at the buzzer. So the Grizzlies get a win, arguably the best win of the victory. Bennett, I watched it at the CBS Broadcast Center in Midtown Manhattan. I had a blast, but you were inside the building in downtown Memphis. What was that like?
It was a blast. It was a great time. It was a great atmosphere. I'm not going to lie. I did feel pretty dejected after the first quarter.
You gave up.
Well, and frankly, let me see. How many turnovers was it again? It was 20 to their 14. And that, like, had kind of been one of the trends, like, in these close games that they've been in where they've, lost, kind of faltered down the stretch, is the turnovers. And it was like, oh, God, it's going to happen again in this one. And then Cam Spencer happened, and that was amazing. So, yeah, it was a great time. Great atmosphere last night.
So they're down 4. He buries the 3, then buries the 2 to turn that 4-point deficit into a 1-point win. Like I said, personal 5-0 run to close the game. And he got a team-high 21 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He's turned into like a real player. There were national NBA writers last night paying attention to Cam Spencer, tweeting about Cam Spencer. And, they signed him to a real NBA contract in the offseason. And though I think everybody connected to the franchise likes the mentality of Cam Spencer, or at least appreciates it, loves the seriousness with which he brings to his profession and the seriousness that he brings to apparently every competition. You're there every night setting up radio hours before tip-off, and you've consistently, and I'll ask you again, pointed out that, like, Cam Spencer was like, coaches love to say things like first one in the gym, last one in the gym. So I think when you get to this level, maybe the cliches change a little bit, like first one to the arena, last one to the arena. But you've, like, literally sent us pictures where they haven't even turned the lights on in FedEx Forum. It's dark, and Cam Spencer is shooting in a dark FedEx Forum, and what you saw last night is the byproduct of that. That's a lesson for, like, every little basketball player out there. It doesn't mean you can become Cam Spencer. You probably won't. But there is something to be said for you don't look the part, you don't move the right way, you don't measure the right way. People are skeptical of you, but you work harder than everybody. You get up more shots than everybody. You're in the gym when the lights are on, and quite literally when the lights are off. What you watched last night throughout the game, but especially in those final couple of minutes, like, that's why you do it. If I were a youth basketball coach, I would be holding him up as an example right now for a variety of reasons. This is the guy Bennett Doyle sends me pictures of shooting in a downtown basketball arena in the dark. The lights aren't even on. But when the lights do come on and you're in the final 2 minutes of a game, the work you put in the dark, it comes into the light. I know I'm over dramatizing this, but that's, on some level, that is what happened last night.
Yeah, and he was the first person I saw when I walked in the arena yesterday, too.
There you go. Perfect.
So, yeah.
There you go.
No, it's and I think, too, man, like, it kind of also just goes to show, like, he's a second-round pick, and I do think there is something to, because more than likely you're never going to find a superstar player in the second round of the NBA draft, right? Like we've had a couple instances over the years, but it's rare. I think that there is something to going after guys that just won at a high level. Obviously, he's a three-point specialist, so he's got a skill that you can look at and say, okay, that's something we could work with. But guys that are just winners, right? And he was that in college. And I think that matters. Like it clearly matters to him. And you saw it last night.
Well, there's a famous clip interview that Dan Hurley did a couple of years ago, maybe, after he had won back-to-back titles, I believe, and he was sort of the face of everything because he had won back-to-back championships. He was being pursued by the Lakers, and you couldn't really turn on a podcast connected to the sport at any level, and Dan Hurley wasn't talking about something. And he's tremendous in those settings. I know his sideline antics aren't for everybody, but he's just a great interview, a great talker, and away from basketball, like a really interesting guy. Like I've known Dan for a while, even before he became super famous and started, accomplishing all of these things. And I have always, on a personal level, just sort of been interested in him because I think he struggles with a lot of this, honestly, same things I struggle with. His entire life has been interesting to me. He's now undeniably a Hall of Fame coach. And he was a Division I basketball player. So by any reasonable measuring stick, he's an incredibly accomplished person. Like, there's a million kids playing basketball right now. Almost none of them, like a very low percentage, will actually make it to the Division I level, to the power conference level of college basketball. There's a million people with dreams of being college basketball coaches or coaches just of any sport. Almost none of them will make it to the level at which Dan had made it a long time ago. But, not to get sidetracked here, he grew up in a family where, regardless of how good he was as a coach, regardless of how good he was as a player, he wasn't his father and he wasn't his brother. Because his father is a Hall of Fame basketball coach and his brother is like one of the greatest college basketball players of all time, Bobby Hurley, who still at this moment holds the all-time assist record at the Division I men's basketball level. So imagine what that's like. You're in a family and you want to be a basketball player, but the whole world's telling you you're not as good as your brother. That's a real thing that happened to him. He would be shooting free throws at Seton Hall, and the student section would literally clap, "You're not Bobby. You're not Bobby." So your whole life you got to hear you're not as good as your brother. Then you get into coaching, and your whole life you got to hear you're not as good as your father. Think about that. You're awesome at what you do, but you're not as good as your dad at this thing, not as good as your brother at this thing, and the whole world reminds you of it at every time. So he's just always been interesting to me. How do you deal with that? How do you overcome with that? Do you ever find satisfaction? And it's why in recent years, one of my favorite just visuals, like snapshots, that you could get from any game that's been played is there is a moment where Dan Hurley is winning his first national championship. And the game's over. Like, they won it convincingly. It wasn't like any drama connected to the final minute. We've known since the under 4 timeout how this thing's going to go. And so the benches are cleared, and you look up, and Dan Hurley's got his son, who's a walk-on the court. And his son actually dribbles out the season. You can look this up. His son dribbles out the season, the college basketball season. The buzzer sounds, you're a national champion. Your son is on the court bouncing the ball. And your Hall of Fame dad is in the stands right behind you. And your Hall of Fame brother is in the stands right behind you. And there you are. You don't have eyes in the back of your head, but your dad that you've never been better than is right behind you, supporting you. Your brother that you've never been better than is right behind you, supporting you. And your son's dribbling out a regular season, a postseason, a national championship. Just an incredible moment for that family. So after his career takes off the way that it did, he's obviously being pulled in a lot of different directions and being asked a lot of different questions and showing up on podcasts everywhere. And he's just interesting to hear talk. And so I watched all of these things. And there's one moment where, to circle back to what we're actually talking about, he's asked about what he looks for in recruiting. Like, what does he value? What does he consider red flags? What doesn't he consider red flags? And he more or less said, I look for the winning shit. The winning shit, that's what I want. There are red flags, and when I see them, we turn away. And there are things that we consider positives, and when we see those, we run to them. And Cam Spencer has all of those things. There is a reason why he recruited Cam Spencer. There's a reason why the Grizzlies drafted Cam Spencer. There's a reason why the Grizzlies put him on a real contract. And it's not just because he can really shoot it. Because there's a lot of guys in this world who look exactly like Cam Spencer who can really shoot it, and they do it at the DeSoto Athletic Club. All right? He's different. And it's because it's stuff that happens from here to here. He's different from here to here. His approach to everything is different. Like, we laugh at it sometimes because it's so outrageous, but he says things and he means them seriously. He's not just goofing around. He says things like, I would die to win a basketball game. And we're like, well, come on, bro. It's a Tuesday night game in January. Relax. But he like, I don't know that he would actually die. That seems like a big price to pay for a
I think he might. I'm actually at this point think he might.
But he's made of that. He thinks
Right.
that way. It's a crazy way to think, but he is wired that way, and there's real value to that, particularly in a long season that most of the world doesn't value. We saw this with Dylan Brooks once upon a time. I think Phoenix is seeing this with Dylan Brooks right now. You can see it with Cam Spencer, even though he is a role player by definition. Like, he cares about everything. In an 82-game NBA season, not every player who plays in that league is living or dying with every game. Not every coach is living or dying with every game. Not every front office is living or dying with every game. But there are certain players that do, and Cam Spencer seems to be one of them. He was unbelievable last night, has been terrific this season, and in a season that has been really up and down with obviously more downs than ups because of the status reports that seem to get worse more regularly than they get better. He's been a real bright spot, and that was fabulous to see from him last night. And I thought, broadly speaking, it was just sort of a best of both worlds for Grizzlies fans because you get to go to downtown Memphis, see a Grizzlies win. That's the most important thing. But you also got to see a 7'4" human who many believe could go down as the best basketball player who has ever lived on this planet. You got to see him go for 30 points in a loss. He returned to the lineup last night after missing the two previous games, came off the bench, played 21 minutes, scored 30 points in those 21 minutes. And, I mean, he's something else. Just in between quarters, this went viral last night, decided to kick balls out of a net.
I saw that, yeah.
I mean, what? Like, who even thinks to even try that?
That's insane that he can do that.
Like imagine if I said, Bennett, walk down to the court. I'm going to give you $20. Walk down to the court. I'm going to put some balls in that net. I want you to try to kick them. You wouldn't even know where to start.
No, I would not. First off, it's just outrageous that he scored 31 points in 21 minutes. That goes without saying. I will say, before he came out, I thought Jaren was playing some pretty good defense on him down the stretch, but he obviously didn't play at the end of the game. He's on a minutes restriction, with that being his first game back. But I was telling Jess and Devin when we were doing the double post last night after the game, it kind of messes with your depth perception a little bit watching him out there because it's like him and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jock Landale, and those guys look small. Like it's like any other game that we're watching inside this building. Like, those are two of the biggest guys out on the court, and they look small last night. It's just wild watching this dude. I mean, just hitting 3-pointers, like pull up 3-pointers. It's insane.
It's not just that he's unusually gifted. It's that it just doesn't even look normal. Like, just visually, like, you don't even have to watch basketball to know, like, that what is going on there. It doesn't look normal. He's amazing. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Like, that's still kind of a cool thing. I don't know if this is just me drawing back to my childhood and recognizing, to the detriment of content, that I think it's cool that kids in the Memphis area get to see that, because I didn't grow up having that available to me.
Yep.
There was never a scenario I could just randomly go downtown 20 minutes from my home on a Tuesday night and see the guy some people believe is maybe going to be the greatest basketball player to ever live. But if you lived in Memphis last night, you had an opportunity to do that. And you got to see him perform. You got to see all the freak stuff that you see, including kicking balls out of a net. Just like, hey, it's in between quarters. Let's load this net up, and let's see if I can kick the balls out of there. Just outrageous stuff. Like, that's just a visual. Like, who else on the planet could even do that, could even try? Like, the serious question, is there another person on the planet who could do that? I mean, probably some gym.
I mean, I'd like to see Zach Edey take a shot at it.
I mean, Simone Biles could probably do it now that I'm thinking through it, right? Give her a little running start. She could probably knock it out. But
Maybe
you get the point. You get the point. He's an outrageous thing to see. So if you're a Grizzlies fan last night, you got to see that in person. You got to see that be special. But you got to see Cam Spencer close it out, and the Grizzlies get a win. So now, quick turnaround. Grizz Suns tonight, FedEx Forum, 7 o'clock tip. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. Grizz underdogs again at home, 4.5. I guess the odds makers don't learn, do they, Bennett?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that, to be honest. I'm hoping we get some good news on the injury report. We don't have anything right now, but I'm hoping for some good news today.
Well, that's the thing about a back-to-back is that you don't get the normal day before 5:02 status report. So at some point today, we will get an update on, I'm sure you're referencing Ja Morant. He obviously missed last night's game with the calf contusion. So at some point today, we should get an update on Ja Morant. Yes, it would be nice to have him. Who knows if we will. But the Grizzlies are listed as 4.5-point underdogs. I guess the odds makers will never learn, because regardless of whether Ja Morant will be in uniform, Cam Spencer should be.
You're damn right.
You know, he's probably getting up shots right now. He's probably getting up shots right now inside FedEx Forum. The pitch black FedEx Forum, Cam Spencer probably getting up 150 shots right now. 7 o'clock tip tonight. The Suns are one of the surprises of the NBA. 21-15 overall, 6-2 in their past 8, but coming off of a loss at Houston. If you want to say hello to Dylan Brooks, tonight's a good time to do it. Chris Vernon will join me next.
The only thing better than Saturday Night Hoops is when it comes with an exclusive Grizz hoodie. Every Saturday this season, $60 gets you a Grizzlies ticket and a limited edition Grizzlies hoodie. 4 different hoodie designs dropping across 4 Saturday games. Not sold anywhere else. Don't miss your shot to collect all 4 designs. Grab your tickets and gear up now at Grizzlies.com/Saturday.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Now that's the new edition way.
I feel like there's another level we can take it to.
What you think, Mike?
2 steps ahead of you, Slick.
What's good, bro?
What you doing, man?
I'm in.
Woman, you don't even know what I'm getting ready to ask you.
Here's the vision. All 3 of us on the same stage every night.
Gonna be crazy.
No barriers, no separation.
It'll be like 9 kings and a queen.
The next level starts now.
Tell me about being a rookie in the NBA. What has that been like so far?
The coolest part is, having a class with you they're all rookies. So if you go to an NBA game, you kind of know a lot of the guys that are rookies there because you went through that process of draft workouts, playing against them in college and stuff. So I think it's cool to have that camaraderie.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Show presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Ben and Doyle back in the Built for Tough studio in downtown Memphis. And I'm joined now, as I am every Wednesday, by Chris Vernon. He's the host of the Chris Vernon Show. Weekdays noon, Grind City Media. He's in the Built for Tough studio in a Tony Allen hoodie. How are you? What was that like last night? Ken Spencer closed it.
I think by far the best win of the year. It's not even close, because the one in Minnesota was without Ant, right? That's the other time that they beat a team that is ahead of them in the standings, a team that every consensus tells you is better than them. And so like an upset win. And so last night, the thing is, like, I spent the entire pregame show and I was on the warm-up show with Lang before. And one of the things we talked about was in L.A. and then how it kind of went south in the fourth quarters. It's like you're basically, with what you've got, you got to play almost perfect. Your margin of error is so small. And that's why, it's twofold. Not only the opponent that you beat, but also you weren't close to perfect. In fact, what they did last night was literally historic. If you turn the ball over 23 times, if you shoot under 40%, and you lose the free throw battle, you lose. A San Antonio fan sent to me last night that teams that have shot under 40%, turned the ball over 23 times, and lost the free throw battle were 14 and 470. And the Grizzlies became number 15 last night. Like, you just don't win games like that. So it's so weird. It all kind of got flipped on its head. We've been talking about how, especially given, the guys that are out and the guys that are having to play and what that does to your rotation and what that does to the lineups and everything else, that your margin of error is so incredibly small. And yet they did so many things that do not add up to typical winning basketball and still were able to grit it out. That's why I wore the Tony sweatshirt today, because that was like old school. That was old school, like where you walked out of the arena going, how did that happen?
Right.
Because it looked terrible 20 times. Right. I was so glad. So there's very few teams in the NBA that have Spanish radio. NBA in Espanol. I resent these teams to no end, because when NBA in Espanol is here, I lose my seat. I have to move upstairs. I lose my seat to Spanish radio.
Me and Paul had a good time last night.
Yeah. So, and it's weird, too, because it's like the teams that you would expect, like maybe like a Houston or San Antonio or L.A. or whatever. I don't even think L.A. has it, actually. But then, you know what the funniest one is? When they'll say, like, hey, you're upstairs tonight because of Spanish radio. Cleveland, they still have it from when LeBron played there. When LeBron played there, they started doing like a Spanish broadcast.
I'm not sure if they still do.
They do.
They do still have Spanish.
I got kicked out of my seat last year.
We haven't seen him yet this year.
I'm upstairs because of Spanish radio. The point of this is I sit next to the biggest Chicken Little in the world every game, and I didn't last night. I sit directly next to your beloved Bennett Doyle. And if it is 9-2 to start the game, it's over. And I can't imagine last night how many times this dude said, it's over, we lost.
You should see my notes. You don't want to know what one of my notes says? It says, it sucks when you know it's over in the first quarter.
This dude is writing down notes in the first quarter.
I'm telling you, you have no idea. It is like sitting next to the ultimate Debbie Downer. If it's 9-2 and Julian Champagny hits a three and it's timeout, I'm out. He's done.
He's over there scrolling mock drafts.
Yep. Look.
Trying to figure out if he can get Darren Peters, and he's giving up on the game.
Cam Spencer hit that baseline shot. The great forgotten shot is down 4, and the 3 that he hit coming out of the timeout. We all thought we're smoked when we went down 4.
Of course.
Right. After the whole Jalen Wells thing.
The fast break that was blocked.
Yes. The Fox block on Jalen Wells. That was a disaster. But the great forgotten shot is the 3. that was every bit as big as the game winner, because now all of a sudden you've turned that thing into a one-possession game where you can win the game. And so that was awesome. I mean, and the crowd was super into it, and it was like, you've been in this spot 1,000 times, and it was like, oh my God, De'Aaron Fox is going to drive, draw three, kick out to friggin' Harrison Barnes, who hasn't done crap all night, and it's going to be one last time Harrison Barnes can rip my heart out.
Yeah, I mean, that is like when those free throws are missed, and it's like, all right, shot clock off.
Oh, yeah.
Up one, here we go. It's like you are like, I was more Bennett than not Bennett in that moment. Like, okay, here I know what's about to happen.
Because it never goes our way.
Never.
It never goes our way. When does that happen? Like, we're 30-something games into the season. When is it? I mean, honestly.
I was like, one of three things is about to happen. De'Aaron Fox is about to hit a game winner, or he's about to get fouled, or he's about to kick it out to an open three, game over. Like, the idea that the Santi Aldama block was like way down on the list of things I thought was about to happen, but all's well that ends well.
Well, and we go up to the postgame show last night, and Brevin Knight is like, we spent the first part of the postgame show talking about it, and I was so happy for him, because I said, as a viewer of the Grizzlies and a Brevin Knight fan, I have heard him for over 30 games, whether it was from Sacramento now all the way through his tenure at San Antonio. I have heard him, and it happened last year in the game here, make De'Aaron Fox, don't let him go left. Don't let him go left. I mean, and it's crunch time. Every game it feels like you play against De'Aaron Fox. And he's always saying, don't. And Vince Williams pulled it off. Like,
that's right.
Vince Williams pulled it off, not letting him go left. For the first time in Grizzlies history, somebody actually stopped De'Aaron Fox from going left.
But that is all, and you know this. That's all scouting report stuff. That's something you know at noon.
But nobody ever does it. Nobody ever stops him.
Right. But that is something coaches, staff members pick up on. In like there's analytics connected to it. There's tape connected to it, and it's something that is stressed in the locker room, and that is the way that it's supposed to unfold. If he beats us, he beats us, but he's not going to beat us going this way. He's going to beat us going this way.
Well, and he has, for the last 3-4 years, he's been one of the best, if not the best, clutch performer.
Yes.
You don't want to be playing against De'Aaron Fox in a 1-point game with 3 minutes to go.
No.
Great job by them.
You also don't want to be playing against Cam Spencer in a 1-point game with 10 seconds to go.
You know that.
That seems pretty clear. Talk to me about him, because obviously he was a borderline draft prospect, but he gets picked late in the second round. Signs a two-way. That seems appropriate. In the offseason, they upgrade that contract like he's the normal NBA contract player. And if people can say whatever they want to say on January 7th, but on the day that contract was signed, it wasn't necessarily the most popular thing. Why are we doing this? Is it necessary? Fast forward to today. He's averaging 12.1 points, 5 assists, shooting nearly 50% from the field, above 46% from three-point range. He's not like a little neat thing anymore. He's a real NBA player. Like this is somebody a good team should rely on, and he won you a game last night. He flipped a loss into a win.
And that's why last night was ultra important for him. And Isolo even talked about this during his postgame show. It's like, once you are a wave and once everybody starts paying attention, now you're on scouting reports when you were not on scouting reports before.
That's right.
And he never takes bad shots. So it's just a matter of whether they go in or whether they don't. But his recent struggles in part had been because he's on that scouting report now in a way that you have to deal with, and that's the evolution of an NBA player, right? You get to function in many cases where you're not on that whiteboard and nobody particularly cares about you. And then you wake up one day and it's like, here's what we're doing against Cam Spencer. And for him to go through the few game struggle, then play a team with 3 unbelievable big guards, right, in Fox, Castle, and Harper, and figure out a way to get back going, and not just get back going, but be awesome in the game is super inspiring. And the other thing is, I remember saying this to Rosa or Devin a couple of weeks ago when he really started cracking. I was like, it's like this is shocking to everyone that this is taking place, but we probably should have noticed when the guy went down to South Haven for like 2 games and in one of them scored 50-something. Like, Roser's calling these hustle games all the time. I keep up with like the hustle box scores. That doesn't happen. And there's a million NBA players that are down in the G League right now. And not just rookies. Like, there's vets that are down there. There's every game they play, you'll know 10 people now in the G League. And G.G. Jackson goes down there, and this guy goes down there, this guy. Like, the guy went down there for a week and scored 50. It's like, okay, like maybe we should have gotten tipped off. He ain't that, right? Like, that's not – he's better than that because you put him down there for a week, and he put 50 up, literally 50.
No, he's
like maybe we should have been tipped off that like, hey man, this dude is way better than wherever he was drafted or whatever you thought he was going to be.
Yeah, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, we should have, but in reality, what most people thought, I think, is that that's fine. You can do that in the G League, but that's not NBA athletes. That's not NBA size. You can't get those shots in this league, and obviously it is different. But he is proving over and over again he can get these shots in this league, and he can make these shots in this league. He's a real NBA player. Whatever you thought about him when he was selected, whatever you thought about him 2 months ago, he has established himself as a real NBA player.
And also a massive fan favorite. You walk through that team store, that's where I do the pregame and postgame, as you know. You won't find a Spencer jersey in there.
Buddy, don't talk to me. I live in DeSoto County. No, hey, don't talk to me. I live in DeSoto County, Mississippi. You want to know who is the most popular player in DeSoto County? Oh, forget about it. Buddy.
We had a kid on the broadcast last night because Eric was doing some shadowing last night, and he's a local high school kid. And Eric asked him on the broadcast who was his favorite player on the Grizzlies. He said Cam Spencer.
That's where we're at.
Those jerseys are out. They're out. Like, you can't. They got to find new kits. Get Nike to send new kits and letters.
Yes.
They're trying to piece together letters so they can make a Spencer 24 jerseys. It's hilarious.
That's a real thing. Like, as the father of a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old suburban kid, Cam Spencer's popping down in DeSoto County.
He's popping everywhere, though. Everybody loves him because he's a dog, too.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's got some shit to him. And Dan Hurley talked about this. I mean, I had Dan on this show the day after the Grizzlies drafted Cam, but I've talked to Dan about him a lot. I've talked to Luke Murray, who's a UConn assistant, about him a lot. They were like, there's the reason we recruited him, because he can knock down that shot, sure, but it's way more than that. I said this in the opening. There's an interview, you can find it, Dan Hurley talking about just everything after he won back-to-back championships. And they asked him, so what do you look for in recruiting? What matters to you? And he said the winning shit. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for. I can find basketball players, but I'm looking for the shit that wins. And that's Cam Spencer. I think Dan Hurley would tell you this. He's the face of that.
Yeah.
They won back-to-back titles. He was a part of one of them. He's the face of the winning shit. And you saw that last night.
I was joking the other day. You'll know this because of the college thing, right? Where I was joking with Roser at a couple weeks ago where I was saying, with the Cam thing, and then like last night, it was interesting because Castle's on the other team. And you go back, and Klingon is obviously playing for Portland. But the guy that won all the awards and the best player on that team hasn't gotten his chance yet. Tristan Newton. Tristan Newton. Yeah. I went and looked up where he is. Get this. Killing it in the G League.
Okay, I had no idea.
I'm like, just go find his ass. I was like, because all these guys, they had the best college team ever, right? Seriously. They mowed everybody. They
yes.
mowed. You go back and look at that tournament run. They didn't play a game under 15, I don't think.
No, they killed everybody.
They mowed everybody down. And the guy that won all the awards, most outstanding player, everything, I'm like, whatever happened to him? We go and look it up. He's killing the G League. I'm like, go sign his ass. Go find Tristan Newton. Because all those UConn guys are awesome.
They're all incredible. Let's look ahead to tonight. Phoenix Suns in town. That means Dylan Brooks is in town. Let's start with Ja Morant. Do we have any idea what's going on with him tonight?
No. He was questionable yesterday and then was doubtful going in, but hopefully he will be available. I mean, I think the good part was he was questionable going into yesterday. But honestly, like, if you just had to run out what you ran out last night, like, I mean, they have played. Let's be fair, right? Ja was not himself in that first LA game, and looked like down and out. And the second LA game looked better. And then you have last night where they just compete like hell. And so it's almost like you're in that spot where you got to come fit into this because they're playing well, right? And so here's hoping that he is available for tonight. And that he's going to be able to get out there. Because he looked to be in great spirits last night on the bench. Yeah. And he was jumping up and around. And he was jumping up and down. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that he's going to be able to get back in the lineup. Because, I mean, it's now that win was obviously just so big for them. And just the morale boost that it gives you. But beyond that, you've got this real feeling that, like, help is on the way and help is on the way fast. Like, somebody told me last night that, like, they could get Edey back for Europe.
And Islo talked about Ty Jerome, too, and said that he's practiced.
So if you're talking about Edey back for Europe, they fly out Sunday.
Right.
To Europe. So that's within a week, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, okay. And he said Jerome is ramping up now.
That was it,
and then he said Cowards is not nearly as bad as they thought it was going to be.
Right.
And so I'm like, damn, bro.
All right, let's go.
What if guys get healthy? You know what I mean? Like, you have kind of hovered. You're 4 under?
Yeah,
500 right
three
now. 4?
I believe.
4 under?
It's 16 to 20. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, to hover around it with everybody being hurt, like, my God, if you could just have Morant, Jerome, and Edey back in the lineup, it's a different world. I
mean, even last night, that was fun. It ended well. They were down 3 starters. Like, it's just like, this is a crazy way to live in this league. And so
think about how important, right? Who helps get the game-winning stop? Vince. It's his first game back in forever. Andy knocked down 4 threes. It's like you could say, you know, oh, well, what does it matter if this guy's out or this guy's out? But, I mean, just having that guy last night, just having Vince Williams available helped win you the game.
No, it was absolutely big moment for him. And then, you record the victory and you hope that tonight the status report's a little bit better. And hopefully that it includes Ja Morant. But we are getting to a place. I don't usually have the television on while I'm doing this show, but in a hotel room, I just turn it on when I wake up. And so I'm sort of like glancing at the ticker on ESPN as I'm talking. And you know how the ticker works. It'll say like Kansas 104, TCU 100. Darren Peterson, 32 points, most for a KU freshman since 1990, whatever, one of those things. Anyway, you get to Grizz, whatever, Spurs, whatever, and the little sentence, you know what it says? Grizzlies 10-8 without Ja Morant. Like, that's going to become a thing, too.
It said that?
Yeah, that is literally what it said.
Oh, my God.
So that's where we're at. Like, that's what they're emphasizing. That becomes and you know who else they just did this to is Trae Young. Yep. It's like, you look at the Hawks are this with him and with it. So that's another thing that Ja, I'm sure he turns on his television sometimes too. Like, you just all this stuff.
It's so unfair the way it's cherry picked, though.
It is cherry picked. But you're right. It is. It's
Guess
unfair.
Whose record is awesome? The Spurs without Wemby.
Without Wemby, that's right. And you never hear that. You never hear that.
Hey, guess whose record? Guess who was 30-2 without Jalen Williams?
Right.
They're 10-6 with Jalen Williams.
That is not on the ticker.
Put that up. Put that on the ticker. You know what I mean?
Listen,
it's unfair. Like, okay, with Trae Young, it's fair because they're 2-8.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's
a lot of the things that gets thrown at Ja are self-inflicted things. Like he's hey, you made the bed, lay in it type of stuff. But I do think, circling back to that ESPN article about him, LaMelo, and Trey,
right,
that seemed unfair and harsh. And I think a lot of the stuff that gets directed at him is, you direct it at him. Perhaps it's reasonable to direct it at him, but you don't direct it at other people. I guess that's my point. The things you could maybe reasonably say about him, if you want to, you don't reasonably say those same things about other people on just a very basic level. Exactly what you mentioned. Nobody ever puts on a ticker what OKC's record is without this player, or what the Spurs are without Wemby, but it was literally, I'm watching it on the ticker on ESPN this morning. Grizzlies this, Spurs this, Morant. Grizzlies 10-8 without him so far this season. That's the thing. Yeah.
No. And I mean, it's on purpose.
Right. Of course it is.
Right.
Of course it is. Yeah. You know, I work in a building where I sit next to the person who's in charge of the ticker on CBS Sports Network.
Right.
They can type whatever they want. You know, it's kind of up to them. It's like, hey, this is your thing, and that is what some human decided to put right there on that screen.
Yeah. Oh, look, I talked about it yesterday on the show. If the trade thing happens and he ends up just with the Washington Wizards, you better get ready, because they're going to turn their sights to the next one.
That's exactly.
You know
that's
what I mean?
exactly right.
No. Well, because it's not going to be dissimilar situations, and it's an uncomfortable situation. It's
very similar.
It's an uncomfortable conversation for everybody to have. But Trey was mad about an extension from the start, right?
Yeah.
He was disenchanted with what happened because he wasn't going to get his extension, right? And that's why he's open to even going when anybody would say, like, why don't you want to go to Washington? Well, shit, they ain't paying anybody, right?
They're going to give you the contract.
That may be the place I could actually get the $200 million, right?
Right.
And we're about to come up on that, which is the decision is going to be made. Like, bro, are we doing an extension? Are we committing to this or not? Because and then you get hurt feelings, right? Because anything less than max extension when you've done it for Bane and you've done it for Jaren is now a thing. And like these are the things that happen within the context of the NBA. And so the same way that they did not, double down on the Trae Young experience, it's going to be a thing here in Memphis.
There's no question. Like, I was talking about the Trae Young thing yesterday, and I just sort of looked at the chat, and somebody commented, like, is he talking about Trae Young or Ja Morant?
Yeah.
Because if you just say, like, hey, I'm going to describe this situation and explain to you how it got here, it's the same thing. It's a lot of the same thing. It's a lot of the same thing. But we could talk about that another day. I'll see you later, Chris Vernon. He'll be in the big studio in about an hour and 10 minutes. Chris Vernon show coming up at noon on Grind City Media. I will say, Bennett, I saw somebody on Twitter last night point out that in addition to all the other Ja stuff, mostly injuries at this point, obviously, the fact that he very publicly cut ties, or at least divorced from Mike Miller, his agent, that's an awesome, or at least a smart thing to do in theory. When the options are giving a certain percentage of hundreds of millions of dollars to this person or not, right? Like, hey, if you don't have an agent, you don't have to cut them in on 3% or 4% or whatever the number might be for any particular player. And so you're saving, when it comes to a contract like the one Ja Morant is going to sign, like quite literally millions of dollars. So I get it, but I saw somebody point this out on Twitter, and I can just tell you it's 100% true. When you don't have another human, involved in those, not just involved, but handling those discussions for you with an employer, it can get real personal. This is what the person said on Twitter, and I completely agree. It can get personal. You can feel slighted, and your feelings can really get in the way of a lot of things. Like, I have never been involved in a negotiation like the negotiations that have been connected to Ja Morant, let me be clear. But there was a time where I worked for CBS Sports in 92.9, and I did not have representation. I was kind of having these conversations on my own. And those are just hard conversations, man. You want what you think you deserve, and maybe they're stopping a little short of that. And how do you push, and how do you know what to agree to? And I can tell you, like, the maddest I've ever been at any boss I've ever had has been during contract negotiations when I wasn't represented by somebody else. And at some point, this is, I mean, almost 20 years ago at this point, 15 at least, I got representation and I didn't have to have those conversations anymore. And it was like like the biggest weight was lifted off my shoulders. It was like, hey, you handle all of this and you don't bring anything to me until you think I need to know about it. But I don't want to know about all the details. I don't want to hear about the small things. I don't want to think about this at all. And I would say the same thing to my bosses. I don't want to talk about anything. Like, I have somebody who does that for me. You talk to them and you guys figure it out. And then when it's done, I'll either say thank you for believing in me or I'll say goodbye, we had a good time. But I don't want to be involved in the day-to-day because the day-to-day could wear you out. And that's just another thing that may or may not be a problem in Ja Morant's life. But I can just tell you there's a reason why almost all of these guys have somebody that they write checks to every month and give away enormous amounts of money to every month. And it's because it can simplify your life and make it easier and more comfortable. And so as we're embarking on all of these conversations, I do think that's an important thing to note, that he right now doesn't have at least traditional representation. And so those conversations, they're going to unfold a little differently than they otherwise would. And like Vernon said, feelings can get involved in that. So these are weird times on some level, but things that'll get resolved one way or another. Either way, we'll wait to see what happens tonight. 7:00 tip against the Phoenix Suns. Will Ja Morant play? We'll get word on that, or at least an update on that at some point, I would assume, this afternoon. When we come back, we'll turn our attention elsewhere. Big Bet Bennett, it was a wild night in college basketball. We're going to get to that. Darren Peterson played for Kansas. KU overcomes a 15-point deficit inside of 5 minutes left in regulation. That was historic. I'll tell you how much in just a bit. But we're going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. Pulled the trigger on the most successful coach in franchise history, John Harbaugh, fired after 18 seasons. But it sounds like he will not be unemployed long unless he wants to be. He's going to have options. I'll tell you what Adam Schefter said. We'll do that after this break. It's the Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
It's gonna be food. Oh, Jaron!
Support your Grizzlies by voting for them to the 2026 All-Star Game.
Oh, eating with the big swat. On the deck, floats it up, off the glass and in! Cedric Power, yes sir!
Vote now by going to Grizzlies.com/All-Star.
Nate Bargatze.
Look, I say a lot of dumb stuff. I try to keep it in front of large groups. Seems to go better that way.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour.
When you say something dumb one-on-one, it's a lot for that person. I'll say it, then I can just feel that they feel the weight of my life on their shoulders.
Tickets and info at NateBargatze.com. Don't miss the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Nate Bargatze.
Memphis. Monday Night Raw returns with non-stop action, unmatched energy, and the superstars you love.
We don't get mad, we get even. We don't go home till we beat them. This is our time, we ain't leaving. Give me the crown undefeated.
Witness the moments you'll never forget. Monday Night Raw, Memphis. Monday, February 16th. Tickets and Ringsider packages on sale next Friday.
The long goodbye begins. A very special evening with Journey. Final Frontier Tour. Journey. Tickets are on sale now at journeymusic.com. Your chance to say goodbye to the songs that changed our lives. Journey. Final Frontier Tour.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South take care of everything, especially you. Learn more. orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Oh, it's the end of an era in Baltimore. Bennett, John Harbaugh is out after 18 seasons with the Ravens. He won a Super Bowl. He is a future Hall of Famer. He built a Hall of Fame career coaching that franchise. But yesterday they told him, you can't do this no more. It's time to go. It seems like it was a situation where they needed to pick between their future Hall of Fame quarterback and their future Hall of Fame coach, and they sided with the future Hall of Fame quarterback. So John Harbaugh is unemployed, at least, for a few minutes. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised by it. There had kind of been like some rumblings over the past couple weeks that things weren't all great there, but I'm surprised they actually fired him just because you laid it all out. I mean, he's got an amazing track record as the coach there. And also just looking at that division, that was the weirdest thing to me, and it's why I gotta believe what you said. It's just gotta be they chose between him or Lamar, because that division, man, like the Browns just fired their head coach and they're the Browns. The Bengals are bringing back their coach, who they've been kind of a disaster lately, and we'll see, if Joe Burrow can stay healthy. And the Steelers, they just won the division, are going to the playoffs, but how long is Aaron Rodgers going to play? And how long is Mike Tomlin even going to stay there?
Maybe one more game for both of them.
Yeah, and so it's like you would think that Ravens situation is pretty good, and you could just come right back next year and win that division and go right back to the playoffs. So I'm surprised they did it, but it sounds like him and Lamar maybe just weren't seeing eye to eye.
I won't pretend to be an NFL insider, but I listen to NFL insiders and read them, and that seems to be the most well-received explanation for this. It was just like John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson cannot coexist again next season, so we got to do what we're going to do. And I think, or at least I gather, most people assumed, say a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, that it would more likely be Lamar Jackson being moved, perhaps to Miami, than John Harbaugh being kicked out of
Matthew Olivier, center.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Scared the crap out of me.
What happened? I didn't know what happened.
Nothing. Kyra played something in my ear. It scared me.
Okay, I didn't hear any of that, so I didn't know what you were reacting to. So most people seem to think like Lamar Jackson might be on the move, perhaps to Miami, fresh scenery, all that stuff. But instead, they side with the player, move on from the coach. And Adam Schefter, within, a couple of hours of this yesterday, was on television reporting that, and this is hilarious, he said within 45 minutes of it being publicly known that John Harbaugh would not return as coach of the Ravens, 7 different NFL franchises reached out to his agent to ask if he would be interested in their job. Now, what's funny about that is there are only 7 open jobs in the NFL, and that includes the Ravens job. So the Ravens weren't calling his agent to ask if he could still coach the Ravens, because if they wanted him to coach the Ravens, they'd have never fired him. So what that means is that the 6 jobs other than the Ravens, at the very least, called to just hey, would he be interested? And somebody who has a coach, according to Adam Schefter, called, which makes sense to me. If you're on the fence about your coach, but John Harbaugh's suddenly available, it makes sense to me to internally have a conversation and go, okay, we weren't going to fire this guy. We know that. But John Harbaugh just became available. Would we rather have John Harbaugh than our guy? Let's talk about that. And if you get to a place where the answer is yes, then the next conversation is with John Harbaugh's agent to say, we've decided we might be interested in this, even though we have a head coach right now. We might be willing to move him. If you're willing to move in, are you willing to move in? That makes sense to me. That is a conversation some franchise should be having. I don't know which one it is. That wasn't reported. But the idea that this future Hall of Fame coach who, never, quote, ran it into the ground. They've been good. They just happened to miss the playoffs this season because a kicker missed a kick, and now he's unemployed. But, the idea that John Harbaugh ever, quote, lost it is just not true. He's 63 years old, which isn't young, but there's older coaches than that working in football at different levels. So, according to Schefter and everybody else who covers the sport, this is the most desirable coaching candidate in football right now. And if he wants to coach next season, he can pick his job. Which one do you want to have? You can pick it.
So, first off, it's insane that John Harbaugh likely got fired because Justin Tucker was being weird at massage parlors. That's pretty wild.
Well, let me stop there because I understand the sentiment, but what I gather from reading Baltimore beat writers and everything else is that kick is missed, that kick is made. You go to the playoffs, anything short of Super Bowl, wherever this season ended, it was going to end with Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh never working together again.
Also, Tyler Loop has been really good this year. He just missed a kick. Yeah.
Missed a kick.
Yeah. I did see, so your point about about how there's a team out there that's got a coach that wants to talk to John Harbaugh. I did just see the report from Justina Anderson. Did you see it?
No.
Okay. It's pretty when she put this out there, I was like, okay, that makes all the sense in the world. The team that allegedly reached out. It's Miami.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
they've been talking about that all season.
Literally all season.
Yeah.
It's is Mike McDaniel going to be still the coach tomorrow? And I know he turned things around to some degree, and it seemed like they on some level picked him over Tua, or at least tried other things other than Tua. It seemed like McDaniel was going to be safe in Miami 2 days ago, but now maybe not. If you could, and that's quite literally the conversation they would theoretically be having. All right, we know we're not in love with our coach because we've been talking about, or everybody else has been talking about, maybe moving on from him since week 4. But we had sort of decided we were going to keep him. But now a future Hall of Fame coach who is still young enough to do great things is available. Should we pull the trigger on this to get that? If we pull the trigger on this, can we get that? And I bet if that call did come from Miami, that's exactly what it was. Hey, we don't know what we're going to do here, but wanted to ask you a question. If our job happened to be open, would your guy happen to be interested in it? That's not an unusual thing in sports. It's not an unusual thing in life. And if Miami's doing that, that would make some sense to me. So, yes or no? And then let's move on. John Harbaugh is coaching in the NFL next season. You
Absolutely,
think so?
Without question.
Absolutely. And the reports that were circulating last night, Giants were making him the priority, and he might be interested in that type of thing. But more than anything, they had sort of decided in Baltimore that the star quarterback and the star coach have reached a point where they cannot coexist. Just it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. They can't coexist anymore. We got to pick. And so they pick Lamar, move on from Harbaugh. We'll see where it goes from here for both Jim and Lamar. But I bet you whether it's in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, it probably won't be 30 years because, like I said, Harbaugh's already in his 60s. But there'll be a point where you turn on CBS or Fox or NFL Network or whatever, ESPN, and those two men will be sitting down next to each other, reminiscing about the good days and how it kind of got difficult at the end. And they both have regrets about how they handled things and about things that were said and left unsaid. But, man, they really enjoy the good times, and they'll smile at each other and hug each other. You'll see that interview. It happens with Kobe and Shaq. It happens with Penny and Shaq. It happens with Magic and Isaiah. Anytime you get these superstars that have a rift, usually they end up sitting down and talking through it on camera. I bet you see that with John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson someday. As it is, they've divorced, and we'll see how things go for both of them moving forward.
Number 2.
Bennett, can I interest you in a Jason Garrett?
It's funny. I'm wondering because the Titans were clearly one of the 7 teams that reached out because they were one of the 6 teams without a coach.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if that was a short phone call. I'm wondering if John Harbaugh's representation hung up quickly on them because I am uninspired. I'm uninspired by some of these names coming out, GP, that we're going to be interviewing. And this, a guy that hasn't coached since 2019, that's just, I don't know if that's the best way to rally a fan base.
He's a 3-time NFC East champion, Jason Garrett is. Show some respect.
And I like Jason Garrett on TV. And I'll ask Vernon about this when I go on his show later, but I'm not very inspired by it. I'm just got to be honest. When
8-8 in his final year with the Cowboys, has been doing the Sunday night NFL stuff for NBC for years. I like him on TV too. I don't, or at least I don't mind him on TV. Like, he doesn't bother me on TV. There are some people that bother me on TV. Jason Garrett's not one of them. I don't know what kind of football coach he is, but you're exactly right. Like, in theory, I guess you're a Titans fan. You hear the Ravens do what they did. You're like, oh, wow, John Harbaugh's available. I wonder if we could get involved with that. But the truth is, like, there's just better jobs than yours available to him.
Which, I get that. I do think the Titans job, I know that we've been a disaster, but it's not that unattractive in my opinion. You got a brand new stadium on the way. You got what you think is your quarterback going forward. You got one of the best defensive players in the league. I don't know. It's Nashville. Everybody wants to go to Nashville these days.
Everybody wants to go to Nashville these days. That's true. But let me ask you this. If you were John Harbaugh, and we all agree that the most important position in the sport is quarterback, I'm asking this from an honest place. I don't even know what the right answer is. But would you rather latch your wagon to Cam Ward or Jackson Dart?
I
don't know what the right answer is. I'm trusting you.
I don't know what the right answer is either. I would go Cam Ward because I'm a Titans fan and I own his jersey and hope he is awesome. But if someone wanted to argue that, I could listen to it. I mean, Jackson Dart had a really good season. He took some big hits this year in his rookie year. He's going to have to change that part of his game up or else he's going to be in trouble going forward. But, yeah, I guess I could listen to the argument. But I don't think that that's like I don't know if that's a sure thing. Like, I don't think that John Harbaugh or any coach is, like, looking at both of those and going, oh, well, of course I'm taking Jackson Dart. No, I don't think that at all.
Perhaps I can tell you here in New York City, they were excited about the idea of maybe getting John Harbaugh coaching the Giants next season and seemed to think that was, if not a likely scenario, at least a realistic possibility. As always, we'll see. John Harbaugh, free agent. Jason Garrett interviewing in Nashville for the Titans job. That's where we are in the NFL right now.
And GP, real quick, like it does seem like that the Titans are they're trying to get a guy that's been there before. Like the guys that they're interviewing, they want, they probably reached out to John Harbaugh, Raheem Morris, the 2 coordinators in Kansas City who were both head coaches once upon a time. Like they have PTSD from this last situation, and it seems pretty clear that they're going to hire a guy that's been a head coach in the NFL before. That's what I think.
Yeah, it seems smart. You look at what the Patriots did when they had a coaching vacancy. They went out and found a coach who had been there before. And so if the Titans...
It was smart. They're smart, man. They're a smart organization. Yeah, that's why they have championships.
So if the Titans could just, find him a Mike Vrabel, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a Mike Vrabel type. If you could ever figure out how to find a Mike Vrabel type. Because that's what they did in New England. They needed a coach, and they were like, if we could find somebody who's, won in this league, proven himself to be a legitimate head football coach in this league, let's go find that guy. So they went out and got him a Mike Vrabel, and that seems to be going brilliantly. So if the Titans could find, a Mike Vrabel type, I think that would work. So I wish you luck, Bennett. I hope you can find a Mike Vrabel.
Man.
Yeah, good luck.
Number 3.
Wild story in college football. Did you see this last night? Damon Williams Jr., the Washington quarterback, announced he was in the transfer portal. No big deal. Everybody announces they're in the transfer portal. I was like, okay, I guess Washington's quarterback in the transfer portal. Who cares? Then the reporting comes, and this is turning into what is being described as the wildest NIL/revenue sharing/transfer portal story of the history of college athletics, because what we found out last night is that Damon Williams entered the transfer portal reportedly less than a week after signing a new contract with Washington. So the Husky season is over. They start renegotiating with their quarterback. They get to a number, millions of dollars, and he agrees to it verbally, then signs the contract, pen to paper, signature on it, or however you sign a contract in the year 2026. It's probably like on a computer, and you do one of those things. So whatever, it's a legal document. So he signs that. Washington's like, all right, good. Didn't plan on maybe spending that much money on a quarterback, but at least we got our quarterback. Let's move on to other things. Transfer portal is open for business. So they're out there shopping. And then last night, Tuesday night, just random Tuesday night, while the Grizzlies are beating the Spurs, Damon Williams announces, like, I'm in the transfer portal. And then Washington's like, what? You're in the transfer portal? We got a signed document from – what are you talking about? This would be like if I signed a contract with Grind City Media on a Wednesday, and on Monday I announced I'm a free agent. It'd be like, what? No, no, this is not the way this thing works. And so the reporting is that Washington is going to, quote, pursue every legal avenue it can to resolve this issue. So what do you do?
I mean,
do you – because here's the deal. You can probably legally win this fight if it's a legitimate contract with no loopholes. But do you want to pay millions of dollars to a quarterback who has announced to the world he doesn't even want to be with you anymore? Like, is that what you want to do? Because that's what you would be doing.
And this is one of those situations where the NCAA is going to have to create a rule and, like, intervene here because, I mean, I don't know if they can in this specific situation, but, dude, this will not be the last time this happens. If he gets away with it, this is not going to be the last time this happens.
Well, let me tell you this. It's not the first time it's happened.
Right.
I heard a basketball story when I was at Peach Jam. Sat down with a coach, and we were just talking through all of this stuff. I wasn't, like, picking his brain, trying to get a story. We were just talking about how wild everything in college athletics is these days with NIL and revenue sharing and blah, 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 blah. And this coach told me, we signed a player, not to a letter of intent. That's what used to signing a player meant. You signed him to a national letter of intent. Like when you heard...
I miss those.
I mean, they still exist, but they just don't matter anymore.
Okay.
They still exist.
That language in a long time.
Yeah, right. It just doesn't matter anymore. But that was the big thing. Like, did he sign a national letter of intent? So we were talking about how we've gone from that to, players are signing actual, like, legal employment contracts with, if not schools, then collectives, but, however the wording is done, you're signing a legal binding contract to compete for this school in this sport. That's what's happening. So this coach told me, he said, GP, we signed a player to a contract, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, hey, we're going to email the contract over. You review it, have your representation review it, take it to a lawyer, whatever you want to do, sign it, send it back. When you do, you play for us, and we'll make direct deposits every 2 weeks or however you do it. This coach told me within a week, the player publicly committed to another school in the same league. So, because the coach works in the same league as this other school, and they go to meetings together and their own conference calls together, like all these coaches know each other. Even the ones who aren't in the same leagues know each other, but like the ones in the same leagues, like they literally like spend a week on the beach every summer together, right? Their wives know each other. So this coach picks up the phone and calls the other coach, and he's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but we signed him, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. My assistant told us he was available, so they pursued it, and I really just had to sign off on it, but I don't know all the details below me. And he's like, well, I'm telling you the details right now. We signed the guy to a contract. It's a legal contract, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've already, paid some of it. And the coach was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, we signed him. We signed him too. Yeah, we signed him too. So, what? And he was like, I don't even know, how awkward is, our conference meeting's going to be. And I honestly, hand to heart, don't know how that was resolved, except I do know the player is at the new school. But the coach told me at the time, My athletic director asked me, how are we going to handle this? And I told them, go get it. Like, if we can recoup that money, go get the money. If we can punish the player, like whatever legal recourse we have, pursue it. Because this is not right. We invested money in this person who committed to us. And then we moved on from other people who committed elsewhere. And now he's just going somewhere else when he is legally bound to us. Not like NCAA bound to us, legally bound to us with an actual contract. This would be like you take the job as the CEO at AT&T and then go to Sprint the next day. It's like, no, these contracts they exist for a reason. You can't do this. And so the last thing I'd heard was the school was going to try to recoup the money or whatever, but the kid is playing at the new school. That's a real thing that happened. So because and that wasn't a power conference, but it's at a program that nobody talks about, and it was another whatever. But like this is football, so it's bigger. But what I just described is exactly what happened here. Negotiate with a school, sign an agreement with a school, then get lured into other conversations, either by your agent or somebody else. Realize, there might be even more money out there for me to get. And then go try to get it. And by the way, do you know the school that reportedly convinced him to get into the transfer portal?
It's got to be another Big Ten school. No?
Look south, where it just means more.
Oh, it's LSU.
LSU.
Yeah, of course. Lane's quarterback said, "I'm staying, bro. I'm not coming with you." They're scrambling.
So it's hilarious that LSU seems to be at the center of this on some level. But there's another report from Ross Dellinger this morning. Did you see this?
Mm-mm.
He's obtained documents, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, other than it all falls under the same umbrella. But Ross Dellinger has reviewed documents that show that LSU proposed to quarterback Brendan Sorsby a $3.5 million NIL deal through its MMR partner, which is, it's an NIL deal that, based on the current rules, would not obviously be allowed. This is the type of thing the House settlement was like quite literally designed to stop. We have revenue sharing now. Everybody has $20.5 million if you want it at the power conference level. Almost everybody, I believe everybody's using it. You divvy that up however you see fit between your sports teams. And then NIL, you could use that in addition to your revenue sharing, but it has to be legitimate NIL. It can't just be a bunch of local car dealerships throwing $1 million at a quarterback. That quarterback is not worth that much money to these car dealerships. We know that based on a database that shows us what Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, everybody else gets for doing things. That would not be legitimate. That is not allowed. That's the way we're supposed to be operating now. But it's been clear since Lane Kiffin went to LSU and explained himself by saying, we're going to have so much NIL money that's the difference maker. Like, what was lost in that conversation is that the way he was describing NIL is, by the way the laws are written, supposed to be not allowed. And as I told you then, and now it's true, they don't care. They're just going to fight through the rules. They're just going to say, okay, we hear you, but we're going to try to push this through anyway. And if you deny it, we'll take you to court. And then we'll let a judge rule on this. But that's what LSU is saying right now. We know what you say the rules are. We don't believe we need to follow them. We don't believe you'll rule what we're doing. We don't believe you'll rule against us. And if you do, we'll take you to court. And history says when you go to court, you'll lose. So let's see where we go. And that's where college sports is at right now.
Yeah.
Players signing contracts, then, moving off of the contract if they feel like there's more money to be made somewhere else. Coaching staffs with not even any intention of following the rules as they're currently written. And it's all just unprecedented stuff that isn't going to clear up or get less chaotic until there's a real semblance of rules and a real threat that you need to follow them. And I'll just say this and then we'll move on. To be clear, I have no issue with what Washington's doing here. because I've seen some other people be like, yeah, you don't pursue a young man, a college student with lawyers and try to, and I'm just like, let's just flip this around. Bennett, I'll ask you a question from an honest place. What if the story was totally different? What if this was the story? Washington last week presented a contract to Damon Williams. He looked at it, signed it, and said, I'm going to be the quarterback at Washington. And Washington said, man, we're so happy you're going to be the quarterback for us, and we're going to pay you well for it. It's all in a document. And less than a week later, Washington decided, this other quarterback that we would rather have is now available. Let's go try to get that guy. Sounds like he wants to come with us. Let's go get him. And then they told Damon Williams, hey, remember that agreement we signed last week? We're done with that. We're not paying you. Yep. You just need to go find a new place. You know what we'd come on here and say? We'd say that's wrong.
He should be able to recoup that money. Yeah.
Absolutely. We'd say you can't do that. You cannot agree to a contract with a player, sign it, have him sign it, and then because you think you can do better a week later, undo that contract. That is not the way the real world works, and that is not the way college athletics works. And so if this were to happen in reverse, we would all be on the side of the quarterback. It happened this way. We should all be, if you want to stay consistent logically, you should be all on the side of the university. Like, that's one thing that these players and in a lot of cases their amateur agents need to realize is that this ain't all handshakes and promises anymore. These are legally binding documents. Like, I have contracts. You have contracts. You can't break them, not without at least facing the possibility of legal ramifications. And this is so new in college athletics. And often the people in the middle of these contracts, the ones with their names on it, they're young and they are dealing with amounts of money and other things that they've never dealt with in their lives, that often people in their families have never dealt with in their lives. So I can understand how this can all be overwhelming and complicated and confusing, but you better learn quickly that this is big boy stuff. A lot of money at stake, and that paperwork can't hold you accountable. So I don't know where this is going to go from here. I don't know that it's ideal to, with lawyers, try to lure back a quarterback who clearly doesn't want to be with you. So maybe there's a way to just, I don't know, recoup some money and move on in the spirit of this is best for both of us. But this is the first very public one of these that we've had. It's not the first one we've had behind the scenes, but it is the first big public one that we've had. A quarterback agrees to a deal with one school, a week later decides he doesn't want that deal anymore, but he signed the contract, and now the school is threatening to pursue it legally in whatever ways that it can. I'm sure we'll talk about this again as the headlines continue to update.
Number 4.
Crazy night in college basketball last night, and the craziest game was at Kansas. They beat TCU in overtime. I don't know if you saw any of this, but KU was down 15 points with less than 5 minutes to play, technically 4:59. And they come back, get the game to overtime. Darren Peterson hits 3 free throws with like 1.7 seconds left. It was basically everything you wanted Darius Washington to do. Darren Peterson did it last night.
Come on.
Gets the game to overtime. I know I shouldn't have said that. And then Kansas wins. But what was wild? 32 points in 32 minutes for the 5-star freshman, presumed number 1 pick of the 2026 NBA draft. But because he's on a minutes restriction and because his legs clearly were starting to bother him, he did not play a minute in overtime. He got them to overtime and then never returned to the game, and they were still able to win it. So this has just turned into a weird story. It's not so weird for us, I think, you and I and people like us, because we talk about the NBA every day. Mm-hmm. But in college basketball, people aren't used to minutes restrictions. And, yeah, he looks like he could play, but he's not going to play. And all of the things they're super careful with at the NBA level. Like, for instance, when we hear, oh, so-and-so might have pulled a hamstring. Like, if a Grizzly last night pulled a hamstring, you and I would talk today and we'd be like, I guess we'll see him in 3 weeks. You know? It would just be like, I don't know, maybe a month. It's just like, this is the way this stuff works. But in college basketball, we just don't see this type of thing too often. But now these players are making so much money, and they're worth so much money, that whether it's Darren Peterson at Kansas or Michael Brown at Louisville, if you're not perfect, you don't play. It's just sort of an understanding. And it has been incredibly frustrating for KU fans. And I cannot imagine what the discourse would be like today if Darren Peterson would have scored 32 points, knocked down 3 free throws to get him to overtime, and then not come back in the game, and they lose it in overtime. KU fans are already fed up with this. They're like, he's amazing, but why is he not playing all the time? Why can he not play? And the truth is, it's the simplest explanation's the right one. His body is not okay. His legs are bothering him. And at some point, the cramping or whatever else he's feeling, it's tending to slip in. And they're being very careful with it because this is not hyperbole. This young man is worth literally hundreds of millions of dollars. But just a weird game. You don't see things like that too often. What you saw last night. 5-star freshman absolutely put on a show. But the games seem over. Then they get it back to a place where, against all odds, they're in overtime. And then they win it. But with the 5-star freshman on the bench the entire overtime because his legs aren't feeling okay. Oh, by the way, last night, we've been playing college basketball for a long time. Mm-hmm. It was just the 13th time ever in Division I men's basketball, ever, that a team was down 15 with less than 5 minutes to play in regulation and came back and won it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very rare. Very rare. So rare that, in truth, we were on set last night.
Surprised by that.
As this game was unfolding. And at some point, we get off air, and somebody hands us shot sheets because we're getting ready to do a Kansas TCU highlight. And somebody on desk, I don't remember who, but literally said, "What? Kansas won?" It was like you see the score, you see the clock. It's like that game's over. And then you're doing the job, and you're not watching the game anymore, and you can't believe, how did that happen? And so just a wild turn of events in Allen Fieldhouse, and now we'll see if Darren Peterson's legs cooperate the rest of the season.
Number 5.
Real quick on this, no big deal, but Tennessee did beat Texas last night to improve to 1-1 in the SEC on the season and maintain their top 20 ranking at KenPom. They are now 16th at KenPom, 11-4 on the year. And Rick Barnes, the only reason I put this in here, I just think it's funny. He's 5-1 now against Texas since being fired by Texas. And that's not to relitigate what happened in Austin when they moved on from him to go get Shaka Smart at the time, because it did sort of feel like that had run its course. Honestly, it's not, although it wasn't a coach-player thing, it had sort of felt like it ran its course a little bit like the John Harbaugh thing in Baltimore. Hey, you're not a bad coach, and we know other people will want you to coach their team, but you've been here a long time. We've sort of plateaued. It's just time to do something else. We just want somebody different. Doesn't mean you're bad, but we want somebody different. So they moved on. And I don't even know that it was the wrong decision because recruiting had fallen off and it had sort of leveled out at UT. But then he gets the other UT job very quickly. And though it didn't get off to the best start, he's now got it consistently operating in the top 20 of the sport, has knocked on the door of the Final Four, and he's now 5-1 since leaving Texas against Texas. I don't know what that feels like, but I can imagine some place, your place of employment, because boil this down, take it out of sports. That's what it is. This place that you work at for a long time and had been good at for a long time tells you we don't want you to work here anymore. And you're like, okay, I don't know that I deserve this, because I promise you Rick Barnes didn't think he deserved that. But okay, you don't want me anymore. I'll go see if I can find somebody else that wants me. And then you find somebody else who wants you. That school has been better since they got you than your former school has been since they got rid of you. And every time you've been matched up against your former school, because you're now in the same league in a way that you weren't previously. Not every time, but 5 out of the 6, you've gotten the better of them. Congratulations to Rick Barnes. He's cut off the Memphis series and punching Texas in the head every year.
Yeah.
I guess he's living a good life.
For sure. So, it's a great regular season accolade right there.
Bennett.
What? I'm being sincere.
You're poking fun at Rick Barnes' lack of postseason success.
No, I'm
That's
not.
What I hear you.
I said that was a great accolade.
I have ears. I heard what you said. Okay. I have ears and I heard what you said.
Hey,
Can't take it back.
Hey, shout out to the Blue Devils, by the way, too.
They covered for you.
Sure did.
They went down double digits early, but then stormed back behind Cameron Boozer 27 points
Don't
from the elite
Don't
freshman.
let me get on a roll before March. Then I might get some real confidence.
Okay, Bennett. Oh, you went
I'm
straight
paying
from
attention this season. I'm starting early with college hoops this year, man. Like,
okay.
Usually it's like February that I'm like, okay, let's really dive in here. But this year, no, we're locked in. We're locked in.
Okay, Bennett's locked in. He's proud of his Blue
Don't
Devils.
ask me a question right now. I thought you were
I'm not going to ask you any.
I thought you were about to quiz me.
No, I know what it's like sometimes. You don't need to be asked pop. Nobody needs to take pop quizzes live on YouTube, all right? I'm not here to ask you any questions. I'm just here to recap. In college basketball, Bennett's a big fan of the Blue Devils and Cameron Boozer and is still critical of Rick Barnes' lack of postseason success, broadly speaking, even though he has the 16th ranked team at KenPom and is 11-4 and coming off of a victory over Texas, 14 points. His former employer, he's now 5-1 against him since leaving. That's your recap of college basketball. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Watching the Grizzlies is easy with FanDuel Sports Network. If you have cable or satellite, you're all set. Find us on your channel lineup. You can also use your TV provider login to watch games on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable or satellite? Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online. You can also watch on Prime Video by adding a FanDuel Sports Network subscription. Not sure where to start? Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com to learn more.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball. But the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
The Grizzlies are the one thing everyone in the family can agree on. So join us every Sunday this season for Sunday Family Fun Days. It's a steal at just $35 and includes a ticket to the game, a $10 food voucher, post-game free throws on the court, and a meet and greet with mascot Grizz. Space is limited, so grab your tickets now for this unique experience your family won't soon forget. Go to Grizzlies.com/Sunday and have a fun day.
Just got a whole lot better. Buckets and Brews is the ultimate way to tip off your weekend every Friday this season. Grab a terrace-level ticket to the Grizz game and 2 12-ounce Miller Lights for just $55. The next night for great seats, cold brews, and Grizzlies basketball. Oh, it's this Friday, just 2 days away, January 9th, against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP and the reigning champs, coming to downtown Memphis. Go to Grizzlies.com/Friday to lock in your tickets. Must be 21 and up to purchase. Let's do GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we miss today?
We had a hockey fight last night. Did you see our hockey fight last night?
No, I didn't see it. What happened? Who was it between?
one hockey player and another hockey player.
No,
That's
I mean,
not important.
I didn't expect you to name the team. What was the teams?
It was one hockey team and another hockey team.
Okay. All right.
Hey, remember how you said don't ask me any questions?
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, whenever we're talking about college basketball, I promise not to ask you any questions. And whenever we're talking about the NHL, you need to promise not to ask me any questions unless it's about Wayne Gretzky's daughter. I know about her. I know Wayne Gretzky's daughter, but I don't know much more than that.
I do dabble a little bit. in the hockey.
I don't dabble at all. I only know Wayne Gretzky and Wayne Gretzky's daughter.
Okay.
And Mario Lemieux.
I'm going to wear my Sabres jersey in here tomorrow.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. We had a hockey fight last night between two hockey players. There was this one fella and this other fella, and they stood right in front of each other in skates and started punching each other in the head. Kyra, if you got look, watch this. This is a good one. Look at this. Hit him.
Oh, this is the Sharks and the Columbus Blue Jackets, I believe.
Sure, why not?
Is that Columbus? I think so.
All right. Punch him in the face. Hit him again.
Oh, you
Look
got
at
him.
Oh, you're down.
Damn.
You're down.
The Sharks stay getting beat down.
That's Ryan Reeves that got knocked out. Ryan Reeves on the ice. You realize if they did that in the NBA,
we'd be talking about it for weeks.
They'd shut the season down. You kidding me? They wouldn't even be allowed to play today. They would shut the whole season down.
We hadn't had a good NBA fight in a long time. It's been a minute.
Because they know we can't punch each other like that because they will shut the season down.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last NBA fight. It's been a minute.
For some reason, we don't mind white dudes fighting on ice, but if you get some non-white dudes fighting on wood, you got a real problem. You know?
Yeah.
But it was January 6th. You know? If there's one thing I know about January 6th is that white people like to punch other white people.
That's what they say. Yeah.
I mean, I see the videos, Bennett. It's just white people punching white people.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Craziest thing you ever seen. So I guess on some level, these fellas were trying to pay homage. Like, hey, let's get together and let's just punch each other. It's January 6th. You're white. I'm white. Let's fight. Let's fight. So they did it.
I want to make sure I didn't speak out of turn on both of these. No, they both suck. I was just making sure. Those are typically two of the bottom feeders of the league.
Well, that was
at least they're giving the fans something to be entertained about.
Well, that was a nice tribute. That was a nice January 6th tribute between them hockey fellas last night. Two white dudes just punching each other in the face.
Yeah. Sharks ain't bad. Go Sharks.
All right. God bless America.
Yeah.
What's today's biggest game?
Oh, I'm taking you to college basketball, Big Bet Bennett. Big 12 showdown. It's a Big 12 showdown.
Let's do this. I'm ready. I like the college hoops. I told you.
We'll see.
Let's go.
PJ Haggerty and his Kansas State Wildcats are at number 1 Arizona. 8 o'clock tonight. It's on FS1, Bennett. If you want to watch former Tiger PJ Haggerty play against the number 1 team in the entire country. We're going to tip it off at 8 o'clock Central. FS1, Arizona minus 17 and a half. Your total is 171.5. How you going to act?
I'm looking to see if they've lost by that. They have. It's like, if they lost by more than 17 points at all this season, yes, they have. And I was earlier in the season. They might have turned things around. They did keep it within 10 against the number 10 team in the nation, BYU, in their last game. But this ain't BYU. This ain't your BYU Cougars. This is your Arizona Wildcats, the number 1 team in the nation. I'll go with the Wildcats. I don't think PJ can lift this team anywhere close to victory tonight. I think I'm going to go Wildcats to cover.
Big Bet Bennett said take Arizona, lay the 17.5. Tip off tonight, 8 o'clock Central. You can watch it on FS1.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in a new stand-up special on Netflix? Marcelo Hernandez, American Boy. You know Marcelo Hernandez. He's an SNL cast member.
Oh, yeah. I do know him.
You know Marcelo Hernandez. He's an SNL cast member. American Boy. How good is Netflix for the stand-up profession? Amazing.
They're like the only ones doing it, aren't they? They really.
Yeah,
I feel like at least the big names.
When I was a kid and you were a kid,
it's Comedy Central.
Comedy Central, HBO. HBO did
Yes.
big ones too.
That's right.
But it was kind of like you'd get a few HBOs, you might get a Comedy Central, but like, where did you put these big 1 hour stand-up specials? And now Netflix has a new one like every week. Like I just watched a Tom Segura one a week ago. Chappelle came out whenever Chappelle came out. There was a Matt Rife one that dropped recently. Like, it's just like there's a new stand-up. Like, this is a good time to be a stand-up comedian. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because Netflix seemingly will just pay you a lot of money to give them an hour of content. So I can't speak to whether Marcelo Hernandez is a great stand-up comedian or how this special will be received. It just dropped today. But he's okay on Saturday Night Live. I don't mind him there. And, I like to laugh a little bit. So if you want to watch a stand-up special, you got a new one on Netflix today. Just dropped. Marcelo Hernandez, American Boy. Get it on your Netflix app.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, over at CBSSports.com, I spent the top 25 and 1 writing about Darren Peterson, Kansas, and that crazy game last night. So if you didn't get enough of that with me just talking into a microphone, you can read it. CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be Thursday. We'll look back at Grizzlies Suns. Michael Wallace will join me. Always a fun conversation with him. Should be enjoyable. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We're going to be back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.